Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth and today I'm going to give you a little bit of a different, dirty book review. Alright, don't go too crazy. It's just a book of erotic short stories. This is Looking Through the Curtains, collection number 1, illustrated erotic stories by Andrey. And honestly, this is not all that erotic or dirty or much of anything, which is really sad. I was looking forward to this. It's something very different from what I normally read, from what I normally review, and I was really excited to get into something different that I haven't really read much of over the years, but it kind of left me wondering why I read it in the first place. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the last book review, and I'm going to give you a couple of things I really enjoyed and a couple of things I didn't really enjoy about this. The first thing that I enjoyed is that these are short, compact short stories, so they're not really extended. You get into it pretty quickly. However, on the other hand, something I didn't like is that even though they're very short stories, the very beginning of them is kind of an extended description of how they're getting into the situation. So, for the vast majority of these short stories, they're really about 3 to 4 pages long, tops, and a page and a half to 2 pages, sometimes even more than that, is how these two people are getting into the situation. And so instead of having a 4 page short story that is 3.5 pages of erotica, it's 2 to 3 pages of how they met and what they're doing and what's going on, and then a page or less of the erotic portion. Another thing that I like is the illustrations. They are not too terribly horrible. Like this one is the plumber, and so it's just that's the same kind of illustration as the entire book has. A couple of them have, somebody spanked or something like that, but there's not any nudity, there's not anything like that in the illustrations. However, something I don't like about it is that they are purported to be these erotic stories, and there are a couple of them where the most erotic piece in the story is the image at the beginning, and none of the images are, into the triple X variety. They're still pretty tame. One of the things I liked most about this is that most of these stories are about couples that are trying new things. So they don't really delve into a lot of sex for sex sake, which I appreciated. I am a single woman, so the thought of somebody having a relationship and going outside the relationship is a terrifying thing for me. I think for anyone, whether they be in a relationship or not in a relationship at the moment, that's kind of terrifying. So it might be erotic to an extent, but I think the idea of two people coming together and trying to make their own relationship a little spicier is also very erotic, and it leans more towards romantic, which is a very interesting take on the erotic story. Something I don't like about this book is the way that they speak to each other. It's not to say that they speak poorly to each other, because they don't, whether it be one of the few stories that has somebody meeting a stranger or going outside of a relationship to have this erotic encounter, or whether it be a couple that's in a relationship having an erotic encounter. They speak nicely to each other, but it doesn't ring true. The conversations they're having are very staid and very prim and proper, and they don't really have the right feeling or the right connotations in the words that are being used to be included in something that is supposed to be an erotic story. I really do like the fact that there are so many different short stories in here, because there are a lot of different setups for the stories, even though several of them feel kind of samey just because of the way they're written. They are in different setups, different protagonists, different types of things going on, so that whatever floats your boat, you can probably find something that's kind of a starter kit for it in here. But it is very, very tame. Um, and this is not a first set of collections by this author. So let me read you pieces from the back so you can kind of get a feeling for why I expected more out of this book. It says he also writes novels and novellas. They are all very uninhibited and graphic. However, Andrey is primarily known as the designer of the unique Fanty adult games and the author of Keyhole Secret Sex Role-Playing Games collection. He's been working in this field for quite a while, specializing on intimate relations of permanent couples. So that's what I saw when I got the email asking if I might be interested in reading and reviewing this book. I was very interested to see the difference between what somebody who has been researching permanent relationships, permanent couples, would have to say about erotica in the permanent couples as opposed to what somebody looking for only a one night stand might enjoy. And really, there are some of both in this book, but they're just not in depth and they don't read true to life in any experiences that I've had, at least. And the language just doesn't feel right to me either. So I'm giving this a 2 out of 5 stars. If you enjoy that kind of story and don't mind it being a glossed over version of erotica that doesn't really get into detail at all or give you much of anything other than backstory, then I suggest you read it. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you because I don't have any other collections of literotica in my life at the moment, but maybe somebody will leave you a comment down below and tell you what they enjoyed reading. If you like this sort of review where I tell you the things I enjoyed and the things I did not enjoy, going back and forth like this, please let me know down below. I like to give you kind of the pros and cons list. So if you enjoy that type of review, I would love to hear from you about it. And, do all of the things with the comments and the liking and the subscribing and all of that jazz. And I will see you again soon. I hope you're having a marvelous day. Bye, guys.